going on, Stellar Crew? Bob MacArthur here for Stellarvue Telescopes in this month's edition of In the Sky, March 2024. I got my Stellar Crew here. I got my SVX90T, I got my SVX80T, and my SVX152T. But got the Eclipse set up here. So this scope is me and my son's scope. We actually shot the annular eclipse in October with it. The SVX90T is wonderful. And right now, Stellarvue has an eclipse package going on with it. We'll talk about that in this month's edition. At school, I actually 3D printed a shell and then was able to get some Thousand Oaks filter and make a little solar filter for it. Produces wonderful images. Got my digital SLR camera on there. Excited to shoot this eclipse this year. And then we're going to do a visual observation with the SVX80T. I'm going to put it on a M2C mount. Great grab and go, plop, easy to adjust. And then again, Thousand Oaks solar filter, and you can pick this up on Stellarvue's website. This is for the 80T here, and a good little setup there. And then, with it being March, it's the beginning of Messier Marathon season. So that's what I'm going to be using my SVX152 for. I am so excited to give this a go and have fun doing a Messier Marathon on this scope. So let's get to it. Let's talk about what we got going on for March 2024. A lot of really fun events this month. So March 3rd, last quarter moon, right there before sunrise, hanging out with the star Antares in the constellation of Scorpius. So making that nice little pairing, getting some summer constellations in the early morning now. So get out there and check it out. March 10th, daylight saving time starts. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That just means we're getting closer to summer, which is summer's great because the weather is warmer, but it also means less amount of observing hours at night. So, you know, that trade-off. But hey, daylight saving starts on March 10th, so spring forward those clocks. On March 13th, the waxing crescent moon pairs up with Jupiter. So over the last couple of months, it's been fun to kind of see that Jupiter-moon pairing. And now, as Jupiter starting to kind of set in the sky a little bit, we're getting it with that crescent phase now. So check that out. I'm really excited for March 14th. March 14th is going to be great. That waxing crescent moon is going to be up there with the Pleiades. That always makes for a super cool event to see. So get your cameras out, take a shot, look through your telescopes. I love it when the Pleiades and the moon pair up like that. So that's March 14th. On March 19th, the first day of spring, the vernal equinox officially starts here at 9:06 Mountain Daylight Time. You know, again, more hours of daylight, warmer weather, less hours of dark. It's that trade-off. But with the first day of spring, vernal equinox also comes for that fun time of year for Messier Marathons. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the episode. We do have a little bit of a penumbral lunar eclipse. It's not really going to get into that umbra. It's not going to get, cut out any of it. Moon's just going to kind of pass into that kind of outer shadow of the Earth, and that's on the 25th. Go to timeanddate.com. I really do like that website a lot to look up eclipse information, and you can find out what time and where the eclipse is visible for you. And again, Jupiter's still up, and it's fun to kind of watch Jupiter's moons move throughout the night or over a couple of days. And the Sky and Telescope Jupiter Moons website is phenomenal for figuring out which moons are where and what's going on with them. So check that out. I mean, last month we had a pretty decent Ganymede transit, and you could see the shadow. So check it out. Jupiter's up there doing its thing. So speaking of Jupiter, let's talk about what we got going on for the solar system. The sun is going through, it's getting up there. It's getting a maximum. We had last month in February, the largest sunspot of this solar cycle so far. Blew off an X-class solar flare, the largest solar flare of the cycle so far. So the sun is definitely acting up and having fun. So if you have a safe solar filter, check it out. We'll talk about the eclipse coming up too, because believe it or not, the April 8th total solar eclipse is getting here. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we have our moon, new moon weekend, March 10th. That's also going to be the good weekend to do your Messier Marathon. So dark night, dark skies night, weekend, time, there you go. Full moon, March 25th. So plan accordingly. With full moon, for me, it's about looking at Jupiter and the moons and maybe hit some of those bright doubles and things like that, or binaries. Now, as for the solar system, planets are doing their thing. Mercury is actually going to be visible low on the western horizon towards the end of the month. So Mercury's kind of a hard planet to spot because it really never gets too far away from the glow of that sunset or sunrise. You should be able to spot it. Jupiter, again, is getting lower in the western sky. And then you still have Jupiter, you still have Uranus. Uranus is, trailing behind Jupiter, so go ahead and check Uranus out. And then in the morning, we have Venus and Mars doing their show. Mars is getting higher and higher as we're getting closer to that next opposition of Mars here in the next several months. Venus is starting to dip into the glare of the sun as it starts to move behind the sun for that period. So there you go. Now, we also have a comet, Comet Pons-Brooks. This is a pretty cool comet. Right now, at the beginning of the month, it's really not naked eye brightness yet. But as it's getting closer and closer to the sun, it has that potential of brightening. And one thing that's really exciting, there is a possibility that this might reach naked eye brightness. Now, I'm not saying it's going to reach naked eye brightness, but it might reach naked eye brightness. And if that happens, it could be visible in the sky during the total solar eclipse. Now, during a total solar eclipse, the moon completely blocks out the sun. You can see the brighter stars in the sky. And actually, it's just phenomenal. We'll talk about the eclipse in a little bit. So, Comet Pons-Brooks, low in the western sky right now. So, check that out for sure. Speaking of the solar eclipse, let's get there. Let's talk about it. If you haven't heard about it, wow. No, it's, we had one back in 2017, and actually those are some of the pictures that I took in Torrington, Wyoming of the total solar eclipse in 2017. It was my first total solar eclipse. I've been waiting for the total solar eclipse of 2017 since I was little, so I was not going to miss that one. And I was really excited that I got the diamond ring. That was like total luck. But if you have not seen a total solar eclipse, get to it. It is just a phenomenal event. If you have, you're an eclipse chaser. You've done it before. You know what gem these things are for sure. So that is the path of totality right there. Actually, just about every state except for Alaska is getting some sort of eclipse. Now, the path of totality goes down through Texas, through the kind of like the central part of the United States, and up through New England. One website I really do like going to, again, like I talked about with the lunar eclipse, is timeanddate.com. So if you go to that website, you can actually type in where you're going to view. I'm viewing from just north of Austin, Texas, and it'll actually tell me what time my eclipse starts, when totality is, and then when the eclipse ends. And you can actually click on the map and you can find your location of where you're viewing from. I know a lot of people are going down to Texas. I know a few people going up to New England. The weather tends to be better in Texas this time of year. April, you know what they say, April showers bring May flowers. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. And in reality, I hope all of you that are going out there to see the eclipse have beautiful weather. But it's time. If you don't have your gear yet, you need to jump on it. Stellarvue right now is doing a couple of really good eclipse specials right now. They're offering their SVX 90T and an Eclipse Chaser package where you actually get a hard case, and you can get some other equipment in there. You can pick what you want. The SVX 90T is phenomenal. Actually, right over there, that's my SVX 90T right there. And I've shot the sun with this telescope, and it does a phenomenal job. And actually, they're offering the Thousand Oaks solar filter with that. And I really do like the way the Thousand Oaks filter, how the sun looks with the Thousand Oaks filter. They're also doing the SV70T Eclipse Chaser package. So right there, you got what you need. They're in stock, which is actually awesome because as we're getting closer and closer to the eclipse time, stock is becoming a thing. So, and if you're traveling, you definitely want a sturdy case for your scope. So there's the website right there on Stellarvue's website. Check it out and get those packages. Get your telescope ready. Get that gear checked out. I was checking it out this past weekend, setting it up, making sure I'm ready because I don't want to miss it. Now, I will say totality is twice as long as it was in 2017. 2017 was 2 minutes. We got 4 minutes. I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing. So, yeah, get out there. Check out the eclipse. Now, the other thing that is great for this time of year is the Messier Marathon. The astronomer Charles Messier was looking for comets and other material, and he kept running across these objects in the sky that he didn't want to mistake for comets anymore. So he actually cataloged them, and there's arguments and debates on whether there's 109 or 110, or did Charles Messier double up on one. But this time of year, around the equinox, the vernal equinox, the first day of spring, you have that chance of bagging all 109, 110, depending on how you look at it, of Charles Messier's objects. The prime weekend right now for this month, or for this Messier Marathon, is March 9th. It's close to New Moon weekend, and depending on your latitude, for me, I'm at 40 degrees north, so I have to nail some of those first quick objects first thing in the morning. The best I've done is 108. It was that first object in the evening, and the first object, or the last object, I should say, in the morning that I couldn't do it. So, but this year I'm going to try it. I got my SVX 152T, which I did not have last year, and I'm going to try and do it with my SVX 152 in a dark sky site. You definitely want to get to a dark sky site. Here's a couple of really good websites. The Los Angeles Astronomical Society actually has star charts that you can help locate all the different Messier objects and an order to do it in, because you want to be able to plan it out throughout the night. It kind of goes in spurts. You got a whole bunch of objects right away, and you're like, okay. And then a whole bunch of objects a couple hours later, and then you have some time off. And a whole bunch of, so you definitely want to plan accordingly, especially if you're going to try and bag all of them in one night. I've done a few of them, and I really do like that middle of the night nap or coffee, because that keeps you going. The Virgo cluster, for me, is the trickiest part, because you have all those galaxies right on top of each other. But if you have a good star chart, you can kind of pick your way through that. And like I said, the Los Angeles Astronomical Society has a great website that shows all of that. And then the SEDS website, I've been using this for a long time. They have a whole history of the Messier Marathon. They have star charts. They have a list of kind of the preferred order to check them out in. So get out there, check out the Messier objects. If you can't do March 9th because of weather or just doesn't work out, the secondary weekend is April 6th. Now, the problem with April 6th is you're going to have a hard time getting some of those objects first at night. For me, they're going to be even further, they're going to be lower and more in the sun's glare. So that's why I'm going to try and shoot for March 9th. I've had it, a marathon right on the vernal equinox weekend, and that's like the primo weekend, but we're going to have a pretty bright moon that week. I think it's going to be the waxing gibbous moon, so pretty bright moon right around the equinox. So get out there, check out the marathon. I love doing Messier marathons. So let's talk about some of these objects that are out. Now, star clusters, what's great about this time of year is if you stay up all night, you can get a plethora of objects. But for this time of year, we're getting into those spring objects. There are some really nice star clusters in Cancer. M44, the Beehive. You have the King Cobra cluster, M67. They're just really nice clusters. M44, I really like looking at M44 in a wide field eyepiece, just to get that. It's a pretty spread out cluster. M67 is a little bit tighter. Monoceros is still hanging out. You got M50 and Monoceros, the heart-shaped cluster, and then M93. M93 is south, so depending on your latitude, it might be a challenging object. But you got that object there in the southern skies. Nebula, this time of year in the evening, nebulas are getting a little kind of sparse. You can still get Orion, you can still get the Rosette, you can still get the Christmas tree, you can still get the Eskimo or Clown Face Nebula, but they're getting lower and lower as those winter constellations are starting to set and the springtime constellations are coming up. M1, the Crab Nebula, NGC 2359 is Thor's helmet. I actually looked at this nebula for the first time a few years ago and was like, oh my gosh, that is a cool nebula. So check that one out for sure. And then you have C59 or NGC 3242 in the constellation of Hydra. This is the ghost of Jupiter. It is a pretty cool planetary nebula. So I encourage you to get out there and check out those nebula. Spring isn't really known for its nebula. It's got a few, but what spring is known for is galaxies. It is galaxy season. You have Ursa Major, all the galaxies up there in the Big Dipper. You have all the galaxies in Leo, and then you have Coma Berenices, all the galaxies there, and then you have the Virgo cluster. Yeah, springtime is galaxy season. And I mean, I just listed 5 Messier objects because, we were talking about the Messier Marathon, but there's Messier objects, there's NGC objects, there's Caldwell objects, there's IC objects. There's so many galaxies to look at. These are just some of my favorites. I do like M95, M96, and M105 because they are kind of in that like right below the kind of body of Leo. Cool little pairing. And then M106 and M109 are nicely placed in March because they're close to the zenith. They're pretty high up. So like I said, there are a ton of galaxies. Some of my favorite websites to go to, I love Stellarium. Stellarium is a great kind of free astronomy software where you can find stuff in the night sky. If you like a paper map for a month, skymaps.com does a really great job of doing a monthly star chart where you can have naked eye objects, binocular objects, telescope objects, and that can kind of show you where some of these galaxies are and things like that. And again, Stellarium, you can put it on your phone, you can put it on your computer, you can actually control your telescope with it. So there you go. I like binaries, so let's talk about binary stars. It's kind of cool. Delta Geminorum. This is a kind of a cool. It has a cool star meaning here, and it's because it was near that star in 1930 that Clyde Tombaugh was looking, and that is where Pluto was when Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto. He was looking near Delta Geminorum, the star Wasat. So when you're looking up there, kind of think about it. Clyde Tombaugh in the 1930s, in January of 1930, was taking images of that part of the sky looking for Planet X. And it was a month later that he saw that dot move between 2 glass plates near Delta Geminorum and discovered Pluto, Planet X. So kind of a cool historical thing there. And think about this. Now, Pluto's pretty much in the opposite end of the sky, just past, it's kind of squished in between Sagittarius and Capricornus right now. So kind of a late summer object. But anyways, let's get back to binaries. I like Delta Geminorum, really bright primary and a kind of a fainter secondary star. Iota Canceri, just a really nice binary. Same thing with Gamma Leonis. Kind of reminds me of Albireo, kind of that nice gold and blue component. And then I put Lambda Orionis, the head of Orion. It's a nice, just kind of binary. Just if you want to show someone what a binary, boom, you have that star right there. All 4 of these for this month are great. And there's a lot of other binaries out there. So hopefully this just gets you encouraged to look up some more binaries because I really do enjoy binary and multiple stars. So these 4 are just really nice, pleasant objects to look at through your scope. So get out there and look at those binaries. So here we are. I mean, we're getting close to the total solar eclipse. It is next month. If you have not seen a total solar eclipse, try and get to the path of totality. 99% coverage is not totality. You get that 100% coverage, it is amazing what pops out. All the weird little phenomenon that happen. And as you're going up to totality, all the things that happen with shadows. We saw some of that with the annular eclipse back in October. And it's a fun event. But make sure that if you're going to use your telescope, you have proper filters. Stellarvue sells the 1000 Oaks filters. You can actually go to 1000 Oaks website if Stellarvue doesn't have the right size for your scope. Get glasses, proper glasses, not sunglasses. I've had people say, oh, I'm going to watch the eclipse in sunglasses. No. You want proper eclipse glasses to watch a solar eclipse. And then the Messier Marathon. It's fun, especially if you can do it with a group of friends, because then you're not out there alone trying to get all the objects. Like, oh, hey, do I have this? You ask your friend to come over, look through the telescope. Oh, yeah, you totally got M91. It's a fun thing to do with friends. And then you can go warm up and have a hot cup of cocoa or coffee or whatever. And it's a great time to get out there and see all those objects if you haven't seen all the Messier objects. And then make notes on which ones are your favorites. March is a great time. April, we're getting into the spring weather. Sometimes it can be a little finicky because is it going to snow? Is it going to thunderstorm? Do we have a clear night? But either way, get out there, get your scope out, get in some dark skies or not, but just keep looking up. The sky's there and it's there for us to enjoy. So again, have a great month. Get out there and observe and keep looking up. See ya.